The carts make their way around the 1.7 kilometres of Zuera International Race Circuit here. We're just a few kilometres away from Zaragoza in the north of Spain, 3 hours from Madrid, 3 hours from Barcelona. And there is the grid as it shapes up for this, the third round of the Rotax Max Euro Challenge, the penultimate round of the 2016 season. I'm Chris Hartley, trackside, and the senior race is about to get underway. It's going to be a 16-lap race. Nicholas Scholl on pole position. Jordan Brown-Nutley alongside. Nicholas is the championship leader. Berke Besler won all three heats yesterday. Started the pre-final on pole, but third in the pre-final itself means he's third on the grid. Glenn Van Paris fourth on the grid. Row 3, Gary Donnelly second in the championship, and Lars Lamberel. Rinus van Kalmthout, Thomas Drouet on row 4 to complete the top 10. Joel de Puch and Christopher Dreyspring on row 5. As for the championship, Nicholas Scholl said on the grid he hasn't really been thinking about it too much, but he's won two pre-finals. So he's won two pre-finals, finished second in the other, and he's won both the finals so far this year. So by my reckoning on drop scores, if he finishes in the top 3 in this race, it doesn't matter what anybody else does. They won't be able to catch him with a round to spare. And even if he finishes 4th, that might still be good enough as well. So let's see how it goes on. He's on pole position, the Austrian driver, unbeaten in the finals so far this year. But the spanner in the works is Jordan Brown-Nutley, who's not really involved in the championship and has been mighty so far this weekend. The race gets underway here at Zuera. Number 216 is Nicholas Scholl, and he's the leader, and it's the inside line that goes through with him. Berke Besler is going to look to be in second place where he is at the moment, and Gary Donnelly will try and be third through the first turn, which I think he's managed to do. The one stranded on the outside line, of course, was Jordan Brown-Nutley, and he's still trying to go around the outside. Somebody cuts the grass there on the way into the hairpin for the first time. 1 or 2 run wide as well. Dry and bumpy it is on the grass here. Had some rain a few days ago, but it's a very dry part of the world at this time of year, and it's a pretty bumpy off-road section as well, so you don't want to drift wide here. Stay on the black stuff, and it's our race leader, our pole sitter, Nicholas Scholl in second place, but Jordan Brown-Nutley fought back through turns 3 and 4 to get himself back up into second place ahead of Berke Besler, so that's a really good effort from the outside of row 1, and fighting going on just behind for 4th and 5th positions. Besler's still in the mix. Gary Donnelly getting stuck in as well to try and defend his position here in that second group of carts in 5th place, and Josh White looks like he's made a good start and has come through the order, I reckon, from the 7th row of the grid. That's him there up in the top 6. Yes, it is number 221, so a tremendous start for Josh White, who's one of the top 10 runners in the championship coming into this weekend. We've also got the Masters division to watch out for, with Martin Pearce on pace being the quickest so far this weekend. But most of the Masters had at least 1, if not 2, bad heats yesterday, so it's a bit of a mixed bag for them. But through into the hairpin go our race leaders. It's going to be a long race this at 16 laps. You've got to progress yourself. Nicholas Scholl is no longer the race leader, though, because Jordan Brown-Nutley has taken it away from him. But there's going to be much more of this overtaking because it's so much slipstreaming around the circuit here. Berke Besler is with them in 3rd place. Josh White has come through to 4th place. Fantastic first lap for Josh to get up to 4th place from the middle of the pack. And then we got Glenn Van Paris in 5th place. Lars Lamberel is one to watch this weekend in 6th place. Joel de Puch is currently in 7th. Jonathan Hoggard has been quick this weekend, but not had that much luck yesterday and on Friday. He's 8th. Gary Donnelly made a decent start, but he's 9th at the end of the first lap. And then it's Rinus van Kalmthout. And just moving up to 11th place on this lap has gone Jess Batman from a lowly grid position as well. Jess Batman was the quickest driver on Friday to get her first ever Euro Challenge pole position. But she had bad luck in the pre-final earlier on and is coming from the 11th row of the grid, starting in, 21st place. Jess has already gained 10 places in the 226 cart up to 11th position. So Jordan Brown-Nutley leads the race on the 3rd lap down towards the hairpin at turn 3. There are the top 3 all together. And is that Besler now second ahead of Scholl? I think it is, yeah. Berke Besler has found a way past and into second place ahead of Nicholas Scholl. So the pole sitter down to 3rd place, but this is still more than good enough, I reckon, by my maths. And it's totally unofficial. I think it's good enough to win the championship title. So there are the top 3. And got Josh White, a 2.5 back in 4th place. Glenn Van Paris in 5th. Lars Lamberel 6th. Jonathan Hoggard's just come up to 7th. Joel de Puch 8th. Gary Donnelly 9th. Rinus van Kalmthout 10th. And Dennis Mavlinov has just moved up a place. He's coming into the top 12 now. Jess Batman, I'm afraid, has lost a few places on this lap. She's gone back down to 14th position. This is the battle for 4th, 5th and 6th that you're looking at. And number 276 is Lars Lamberel at the back of that trio. There are the 3 leaders, though, making their way through turn 1. And here comes Berke Besler looking to the inside at turn 2. He goes through. Nicholas Scholl goes through. And down to 3rd place, not having too much to be able to defend there was Jordan Brown-Nutley. There you go, fastest lap of the race for Lars Lambrell, 64.947 seconds. And Lars has just gone ahead of Glenn Van Paris and into 5th place as well. So Josh White leads the second group of karts. It's Lars Lambrell, Glenn Van Paris in 6th position. Jonathan Hoggard doing a great job in 7th. Depuch Van Kalmthout up to 9th now. He's moved ahead of Gary Donnelly. So Gary made a decent start, but he's starting to slip back down the pack now. The driver second in the championship standings coming into this weekend. But it's a long race, and it might just be that Gary's kart comes on in the second half of the race. We've got to look after the tyres here, because certainly we saw in qualifying, new tyres, you only get really 2 laps maximum out of them at their very best. And the hot conditions with all the rubber that's been laid down, the very high track temperatures, they can easily overheat. So it's got to be smooth out there, but fast. Through go the top 3. Besler, Scholl, Brown-Nutley close up together on the way into turn 2. It's going to be a challenge for 4th place. Lars Lambrell ahead of Josh White into turn 2, and a change for 4th. So Lambrell coming back now, and he's got to try and close a 1.3 second gap if he wants to have a chance of chasing the top 3 for a place on the podium. Best lap of the race now, Denis Mavlanov, 64.912. That's just over half a tenth quicker than Lambrell's previous best. And where is Denis? He's in 12th place. Jess Batman's come back up a position to 13th. And Thomas Drury is just gaining a place as well. He's just come up to 17th place after losing some positions early on in the race. So now Berke Besler, a winner here 7 days ago in a different category, a winner of the X30 Euro Series, winner of the race, leading here the Rotax Max Euro Challenge race, but he's not a championship contender. And you heard from him on the grid saying he didn't want to get in the way of Nicholas Scholl and ruining his chances of winning the championship, because Berke knows he's too far back to try and win the title, but he'd love to win the race, and he could still finish, fairly hard at the championship with a good result here and a good result in Salbris with the drop score system that we have. Still Lambrell in 4th, Josh White going with him. They're working together now to try and close the gap to the top 3. And now we've got 2nd place, Jordan Brown-Nutley going through. So he gets ahead of Nicholas Scholl at the start of this lap. I can see, I think, that Berke Besler was starting to get away. Jordan Brown-Nutley would absolutely love to win this race. No pressure on him, but not really any pressure on Berke Besler either. The Turkish driver leads, the British driver in 2nd, the Austrian in 3rd place. His cousin Konstantin Scholl is going to be racing in DD2, last race of the day. You've then got Lars Lambrell in the 276 kart, running in 4th place, trying his best to catch them up, the Dutch driver, and trying to take the British driver Josh White with him. Jonathan Hoggard's now into the top 6 as well, by the way. He's got ahead of Glenn Van Paris. So Jonathan Hoggard, number 300, made good progress in the pre-final. He started this race 11th. He's already up into 6th position. Through go the top 3, and a fastest lap of the race for guess who? Jordan Brown-Nutley, and now he goes for the lead of the race into turn 2, back up front. So Brown-Nutley back into the lead of the race. He, Besler and Scholl have all been leaders in this one. And Jordan Brown-Nutley there, confirmation that that's taken another 0.2 of a second out of the best lap time that we've had so far in the race. So 64.9 for Besler, a 64.7 for Brown-Nutley. That was why he caught him up. And he's gone from 3rd to 1st in the space of 1 lap. So JBN leads the race. Besler 2nd going with him. Scholl just not quite there in 3rd. Maybe he has worked out the points. Maybe he does know 3rd place is good enough. By my reckoning anyway. But I hope he's worked it out for himself and the team, because, as I say, that's only my maths. It's not official, that. So Brown-Nutley leading the way. 6 laps down, 10 laps to go, including the one that we are on. It's Brown-Nutley from Besler, from Scholl, Lambrell, White, Hoggard, Van Paris 7th now, Depuch 8th, Van Kalmthout and Donnelly rounding out the top 10 positions in the race. There's going to be more changes, though, because of the slipstream effect that we have here at Zuera. Jordan Brown-Nutley taking all the wind resistance at the head of the field at the moment. Berke Besler, though, wasn't able to find a way past through the first 2 turns. And that's really where the benefit comes. Had another jog around the circuit last night. It was really windy yesterday, and the headwind going out of turn 2 into turn 3, that wind was absolutely huge. You can see how much it was slowing the karts down yesterday. It wasn't that much in the way of really fast lap times, particularly as the day wore on. But of course that wind then went behind them down the start-finish straight and was propelling them along to some pretty impressive speeds into the flat-out right-hander at turn 1. So Lamborel in 4th place, going well. Josh White, we know, going really well in 5th place, having gained 8 places in this race, although he was 4th at one point. And those two look like they are on the pace of the leaders, maybe able to catch the gap and maybe go for a podium. Lamborel, to me, looks like he's definitely closing in on Nicholas Scholl. Nicholas Scholl could still finish 4th in this race, and that could still be enough for the championship, mainly because his nearest rivals are all behind him. Gary Donnelly, Rinus van Kalmthout, Jess Batman, Josh White, they're all still behind him. So I think 4th place will still be enough provisionally to wrap up the championship title, as Denis Mavlanov now sets a new fastest lap of the race, 64.7. He's still out of the top 10 though, still in 11th place. Shows you how competitive it is in seniors when the driver in 11th place is the fastest driver out there, because yes, he's the fastest driver, but they're all lapping within 1 or 2 tenths of a second of each other. So a lot of this comes down to strategy, to racecraft as well. And Jordan Brown-Nutley, for somebody that hasn't won a round of the Euro Challenge, he's looking very comfortable, isn't he, at the head of the field. And this is as well as I've ever seen Jordan drive. He's always been quick. I have to say, he's had plenty of bad luck over the years as well, certainly over the last 2 or 3 years. But it's coming good for him here, and it's Brown-Nutley that continues to lead the race here as we go into the final third of the race almost. We're 9 laps done of the 16, but it's becoming a 4-way fight because Lars Lambrel has now bridged that gap. He's with the top 3, and already he strikes on the way into turn number 3. Through he goes. The Dutch driver up into a podium paying position. He goes 3rd. 4th place, Nicholas Scholl. And then 5th place, not far back, with the yellow helmet, the red and white suit. It's been a really good drive once again, this from Josh White. Jonathan Hoggard is another one charging up the order here, and he's just behind Josh now. So the 2 British drivers, 5th and 6th, trying to charge on as we get a change of lead into turn 6. Berke Besler through ahead of Jordan Brown-Nutley. So Besler hits the front once more. Through he goes, top of his game at the moment, Berke Besler. Jordan Brown-Nutley down to 2nd place. 3rd position, Lars Lambrel, having gone straight through. Nicholas Scholl, maybe, as I say, he said he wasn't thinking about points. Maybe he's starting to think about points now. It doesn't really matter how many races you win, how many trophies you get. What matters is who wins the championship at the end of the day. That's what everybody remembers. That's what goes on your record. Side by side again for the lead of the race. And once more into turn 1, it's Jordan Brown-Nutley that goes through. Lars Lambrel tries to follow him into turn 2 and succeeds. Nicholas Scholl thought about it, but was too far back. So he doesn't take advantage and remains in 4th place, but now draws alongside Berke Besler going into the hairpin to try and get 3rd place from him. Can't find a way through. And all of that brings Josh White and Jonathan Hoggard and Glenn Van Paris with the green helmet there onto their case. So suddenly the next group of karts have caught up. And Josh White with a lovely move down the inside at turn 5 on Nicholas Scholl to go through. Bit of contact there. Glenn Van Paris into the back of the championship leader. Glenn is a real championship contender as well. Once you think about drop scores, he's well up there in the top 3 or 4 of the championship. And Nicholas Scholl with some scary moments here. But he survives, he keeps going, but he's lost places. And he's been sucked right into the pack now. And this might mean that the championship does go down to the last race at Salbris. Jordan Brown-Nutley leads by 0.3 of a second. Lars Lambrel is in 2nd place. Then it's Besler 3rd. There is Josh White in the yellow helmet in 4th place. Jonathan Hoggard up to 5th. Glenn Van Paris up to 6th. Nicholas Scholl demoted now down to 7th place. 8th place because he's lost another one to Rinus van Kalmthout as they go over the start-finish line. So 8th place now for him. Mavlanov 9th. Gary Donnelly in 10th place. Scholl is still outscoring Gary Donnelly, but Glenn Van Paris is in front of him now. And Glenn on drop scores is still a driver capable of winning the championship. Lots of maths to be done at the end of this one, but let's just concentrate on the race because it's a cracker. We're at 2/3 race distance. 11 and a half laps done, and Jordan Brown-Nutley leads. But they're coming after him. Lamborel in 2nd place. 3rd place, Besler. Any one of these could win it. Josh White could win it still if he can close this gap. He's done it once. He's got to try and do it again now. But it's back to 4th for him. Hoggard there is just about a length back in 5th place. There with the green helmet. Glenn Van Paris in 6th place. He's only 1 position ahead of Nicholas Scholl. He's got back into 7th. Mavlanov's gone 8th, and that's because they've both got ahead of Rinus van Kalmthout, the Dutch driver, last year's runner-up in the seniors, who's 3rd in the championship. So our three of our key championship contenders are all together, but they're all in the tail end of the top 10. Jordan Brown-Nutley is at the head of the pack, but he's only 0.2 of a second clear of Lars Lambrel, who closes up, pulls the slipstream, breaks the race leader. He's got a target to aim for. Okay, Besley going with him. It looks like it's going to be between these three. And now a challenge for the lead of the race. Lars Lambrel goes for it. Jordan Brown-Nutley can't do anything to stop him. All he can do is shut the door before Berke Besler comes through. And now it's Lambrel who becomes the fourth different leader of the race. 4 laps to go, including the one we're on. Lambrel, who was down in 6th place at one point, is doing a really good job here. He leads the way. Into the pits has come number 217. Stephanie Leverscont, I'm afraid, has had a difficult weekend so far, and it ends with, it looks like a DNF for her. But now Besler going into 2nd place ahead of Jordan Brown-Nutley as we look back to the screens. So it's all change again, but don't rule Jordan out of this just yet. They're all as quick as each other, these three, and they're all going to benefit from the tow at different points of the race. Josh White, though, has closed the gap quite a lot on that lap. Look, he's much closer in 4th place. Now, Jordan Brown-Nutley pulls out of the slipstream, draws alongside and goes through. Back into 2nd place. Back ahead of Berke Besler. Desperate for the race leader not to get too far clear. We've got 3 laps to go. We've done 13. It's a 16-lap race. And Lambrel, Besler and Brown-Nutley and White and maybe Hoggard could all still win this race. Maybe Glenn Van Paris. Maybe even Nicholas Scholl is at the back of that train with the pink helmet running in 7th place, the championship leader. Does look unlikely, though, that he's going to get his 3rd win on the trot, his hat-trick of wins here. So through they go. Your race leader is Lars Lambrel, but coming back at him now is Jordan Brown-Nutley. And Berke Besler 3rd. Josh White, he's almost with them in 4th place. He certainly pulled away from Jonathan Hoggard in 5th position in the 300 kart, who's got Glenn Van Paris right on his rear bumper as they go into the left-hander at turn number 9. And there are the top 2. Now, Jordan Brown-Nutley has pulled off plenty of good overtakes this weekend, down the inside, around the outside, any way you care. He's been able to find a way through. And I don't think he's too interested in finishing 2nd in this race. He's going to have a go for this if he can. But Lambrel equally has been very feisty, a very good driver this weekend. It's going to be a straight fight, this. There are 2 laps to go now, including the one we've just started down towards turn 3. Jordan Brown-Nutley closes under braking. He's got the fastest lap of the race again, 64.4. Going half a second lap quicker than we were at the start of the race now. So those Mojo tyres are holding up very well. Berke Besler looks like 3rd place. Might be as good as he can do here. And he's going to have to fight off Josh White, I think, in the closing lap and a half for that place on the podium. So it is almost nose to tail now between the top 2. And Jordan Brown-Nutley is in a good place here because he's close enough to pick up the tow if he stays where he is, going on to that start-finish straight and on to the start of the final lap of the race. But you know what? Lars Lambrel will know exactly what is coming, and he'll look over his shoulder and he'll defend the inside line fervently, I'm sure. We've got a lap and a few corners to go, and any one of Lambrel and Brown-Nutley, and maybe even Besler, if he gets back in the mix, could win this race. So here comes Jordan Brown-Nutley. He's going to have to go the outside route because, as predicted, Lambrel's hugging the inside line. We're on the final lap of the race. They're both looking for their first Euro Challenge wins. Trying to go around the outside is Jordan Brown-Nutley. Can't do it. Now he tries the look through the kink. He'll try and line up a move down through the hairpin. Look, Besler's coming back at them as well. Besler not far behind. He's back in the mix. Josh White is in the mix. It's 4 for the lead of the race here. They're absolutely side by side as they come out of the hairpin, but it's still Lambrel with his nose in front. Brown-Nutley in 2nd place. Besler has caught them up. White has caught them up. There's 4 of them battling over 5th place just back as well, with Jonathan Hoggard at the head of the 2nd queue of karts. But who's going to win this one? Down into turn 6. Jordan Brown-Nutley can't find a way through. Josh White tries a wide line to try and get past Berke Besler. It's still together. It's still Lars Lambrel that leads the race. Jordan Brown-Nutley running out of time. Berke Besler nibbling away, trying to get 2nd place. Should the door open up? Should an opportunity arise? But Lars Lambrel is just staying on the racing line at the moment. But you can get a tow coming out of the last corner. It could be a chance here for Jordan Brown-Nutley. He gets right onto the rear bumper of the race leader. He's lining up a move here as they accelerate towards the checkered flag. He's going to pull out of the slipstream. Side by side across the line. Jordan Brown-Nutley steals it on the line. Brown-Nutley is the winner here by a fraction. Lambrel celebrated. He hadn't crossed the line, and Brown-Nutley timed that to perfection, and he wins the race by a fraction. We'll wait for the timing screen to update. 16 thousandths of a second. Jordan Brown-Nutley wins. Lars Lambrel 2nd. Berke Besler 3rd. Josh White 4th. Jonathan Hoggard 5th. Glenn Van Paris 6th. Nicholas Scholl 7th. 8th for Dennis Mavlenov, 9th for Rinus van Kalmthout, and 10th place for Gary Donnelly. What a finish that was. It was like the junior race, but this time the The leader couldn't quite hang on. Their teammates as well. So Dan Holland Racing 1-2. And by 16 thousandths of a second, Jordan Brown-Nutley takes his first ever win in the Euro Challenge. And you have to say, it is thoroughly deserved because he has driven like a demon this week.